Hello, this is Reginald, also known as Brother Teacher. I want to talk to you just for a moment about high blood pressure and what causes it. I have approximately 6 reasons why we have high blood pressure. But before I tell you what those things are, and I'll probably be a little redundant with my explanation because that's how serious I am about not only this subject, but many of the ones that I broadcast or that I try to disseminate throughout the internet to people who have been abused by the system and even have abused themselves unknowingly. Let me say this. I'm a very spiritual man, and I don't necessarily subscribe to a particular religion per se, Baptist, Catholic, and so on and so forth. At one time, I did. I could be considered apostolic in my faith, or Hebrew Pentecostal, if you will. But all of that aside, I'm speaking to you as one man to my brothers and sisters out there watching this video. When we were born perfect, nearly perfect as human beings. We didn't need the assistance of anything externally or outside of us to make us thrive internally. All we needed basically was a loving, caring parent or parents raising us, nurturing us, and giving us the proper things that we needed psychologically, physiologically, if you will, emotionally, and so forth. But something happened. Now, let me go to this topic here. Some of the causes of high blood pressure. One of them is stress, worrying. My children are doing bad in school. My children are arguing with one another. They don't like me. They don't love me. They're having problems with the fact that their father is no longer in the home, or that we're divorced, and things of this nature. Just in brevity, that any type of stress can cause high blood pressure. We'll leave it at that. That's number one. Number two, environmental toxins. Need I say any more? Environmental toxins mean toxicity that's in the environment in which we move about in. We inhale air, oxygen. We have chemical plants that spew all types of toxins and pollution in the air in which we breathe every single day, outside of oxygen. We have jet planes, helicopters, personal planes, if you will, or commercial planes flying in the sky, spewing out fumes, exhaust. We have automobiles, trains, ships, you name it, motorcycles spewing out poison, toxic poison in the air that we breathe. Need I go any further with that? Now, someone said, well, it's not bothering us. Let me tell you this. Go into a garage, turn a diesel engine on a generator or on a truck, and shut the door, and you stay in there and see if you're healthy. So what's my point in that example? It's different when you're out in the open, the wide open, because you're not receiving a concentrated amount of those chemicals into your lungs. It's being dispersed or disseminated throughout the atmosphere. But you are receiving, or we are receiving, something from the exhaust, from the chemicals in the air, and so on and so forth. And over a period of time, it's going to affect you as far as your health is concerned. Let's just stop there. That's number two, environmental toxins. Not to mention deodorants and perfumes and things like that that are made with chemicals. All right. The third one that causes high blood pressure, being overweight. I'm not talking 5 or 10 pounds overweight. I'm talking 20, 30, 40 pounds, or even being obese. When you have 100 extra pounds on your body or your body's frame, that puts undue stress on your heart. Your body has to pump harder to supply all of that extra body tissue. So being overweight can cause high blood pressure. Processed foods and chemicals. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is one of my pet peeves. I asked this question before, and I'm asking it again, and it's something for you to think about. It's rhetorical. Why do we have chemicals in our food? Why is it that the majority of the things that we purchase from the grocery store is laden with preservatives, artificial colors and flavors and fragrances, artificial flavor enhancers, a slew of chemicals and additives that we can't even pronounce? Why do we have all of this in our food, the food that we're supposed to ingest? That causes high blood pressure. Oh, that's one of the things that causes high blood pressure as well. Your body is not supposed to have that in it. Only real food. We'll get back to that one. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 5 is sedentary lifestyle. A lifestyle where you're sitting around a lot at home or at work, or driving in an automobile when you could perhaps sometimes even walk, get up and move around, lying down in your bed too much. You're always relaxing, or you're relaxing too much, or what you call relaxation. Okay, sedentary lifestyle. Okay, we were designed to move. If you were to take that ability from human beings totally away, if you took it completely away, the ability to move, we will become depressed. So what does that tell you? You don't want to be confined to a chair for the rest of your life, or a bed, and can't move. You'll become depressed and possibly suicidal. You would, because you don't want to not be able to move at all. So why is it that we're just always chilling, always relaxing, but we're not exercising? Okay, and the last one is number 6 for this particular video segment. It's medication. Medication. I'm not saying that we will not ever need some form of medication, but I'm saying this: we're over-medicated as a nation and as a world. There's a lot of things that we're taking in the form of medicine that we don't need. And the number 1 cause of death in America, it used to be number 3, is death by doctor. Misprescribing, or malpractice, if you will. Misprescribing medication. Giving a patient or patients too much medication, or the wrong medication, or giving them medication that might be the right medication and it having an adverse reaction to their body. You know why? It's a foreign substance. Okay, now I'm going to recap. Some of the causes of high blood pressure, commonly referred to also as hypertension. Stress, number 1. Environmental toxins, number 2. Being overweight or obese, number 3. Processed foods with chemicals, number 4. Sedentary lifestyle and lack of exercise, number 5. And number 6, medication. So, in my summation, ladies and gentlemen, as I began this video, I made the statement that we were made perfect, or nearly perfect. You may have heard me say this before. Most of us, I'm not talking about extenuating circumstances, and I'm not talking about rare occasions and rare situations. or remote situations. I'm talking about most people. When you are in the delivery room, coming out of your mother's womb, or your child is coming out of your womb, if you're a woman, listen to this. When the doctor pulls you out, male or female, they say your baby is healthy. Okay, if the baby is healthy right now, right then, what happens 10 years later, 20 years later, 30 years later, 40 years later, that you have cancer, that you have some form of disease, some debilitating condition? Consider all of the things that I just mentioned, the 6 things that I just mentioned. Could they perhaps be responsible? Could one or more be responsible for us having the conditions, or being in the condition of ill repair that we are nowadays? Is that the reason? And we're talking about hypertension or high blood pressure. I advocate that it is the reason. We were born perfect. God gave us everything that we needed on this earth to survive. He gave us fresh air. He gave us food that grows out of the ground. And for those who eat meat, there's fowl, there are animals on the land, there are fish, or ocean life, water life, if you will, and herbs and plants, as I said. All of these things were given to us. But when man came along and started to think about profiting, when man came along and started thinking about capitalism, he didn't consider anymore the health of mankind or the people that he's supposed to be serving. He was considering, and I'm using this broad broom, if you will, a brush, he was considering himself having so much that he didn't care about the collateral damage and who he hurt. I'm talking about people in power now. The people who run the food manufacturing companies, the tobacco companies, they know what they're doing. All of the factories that put out the pollution in the air, they know what they're doing. All of the fuel that is being pushed out into our atmosphere, and we're creatures that live off of oxygen. All of the deforestation, when they're cutting down all of the trees that put off oxygen into the air, we're struggling as a humanity, struggling to survive. And it's worse than most of us will even want to realize. You see, we were given perfect bodies. We were given bodies by the Creator that could repair itself. This body knows nothing about foreign matter being injected into it. It doesn't know anything about what a Percocet is, or Tylenol, or Beer aspirin, or blood pressure medicine. All of these things that industries, big companies and pharmaceutical companies make billions and billions of dollars off of us being ill. Your body didn't know anything about that. So do they really, really care about us? They care more about the dollar. Let's face it, ladies and gentlemen, it's the truth. Emergency medicine is the best medicine. But you're not supposed to live off of medicine for the rest of your life. And let me put that properly. When I say medicine, I'm talking about pharmaceutical medicine for the rest of your lives. One writer said many years ago, let your food be your medicine and let your medicine be your food. It starts in the gut. It starts inside the body. You are indeed what you eat. You're also what you don't eat. When you start putting poisons inside this organic temple, it's not going to yield positive results, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot go against nature. I'm sort of going off on another tangent, but it's all related. We were designed by the Almighty to live to be a healthy 100 or more years old. Over 100 years old. But many of us, we work on jobs where we can barely move for 30, 40 years. That's ridiculous. Why? It's the environment. It is the system that we're in. But we just ought to change that system. At least change the system for your own individual life and that of your families. You can do it. If you really want to be healthy, it's an individual effort. But you have to make a decision. Have you decided today to be healthy? Do you really want to be healthy? If you're obese today, do you really want to lose weight, or did you just resign the fact that I'll never be able to lose weight, so I'm just going to become satisfied? You can lose weight if you want to, but you cannot lose weight also if you don't want to. You can be healthy or healthier if you want to, but if you don't want to, you won't be. Can you read between what I just said? It's so simple, but for many, it's so hard. I love you, and Yahweh, the Almighty, loves you. Let me know what you think, and let me know if you have made a decision to change, to better yourself. So long.